Welcome to Modern Farm Business Podcast. This podcast is designed to help the farm leader bring their business to the next level. We'll cover everything from leadership and finance to strategy and planning. I'm your host, Dean Hefta. As our businesses or organizations grow in size, it becomes critical that we as leaders change our focus and our activities. As a one-person operation, the number of people we can hand work off to is pretty limited. The staff you have are family members or contractors, like maybe an accountant or summer help or maybe somebody you hire to spray the crop. Eventually, though, as businesses grow, it takes more people to get the work done. And more people means the need for better communication and the coordination of activities. It also means that as leaders, we can't spend our time doing the things that we always used to do. It's quite often at this point, the leap from a one-person show to getting things done through people that can become the potential bottleneck for efficiency, and it's where we sow the seeds for future frustrations among staff. Many times we haven't really seen a good model of how working through and with others can be done well. As operations grow, we're just trying to get through the day and get stuff done. So today we're going to talk about delegation that works. The first thing I'll do is cover a picture of how we know if delegation is going well. We'll cover some common roadblocks to delegation and some of the fundamentals around it. And finally, different areas where we can apply these same principles. How do we know what good delegation looks like? First, let's define delegation. It's easy to think of it as I sit here and think of things for you to do, and then you go do them. But when you listen to episodes like 31 of Modern Farm Business with David Marquet, you realize that effective groups can look a lot different than that. Delegation is really the coordinated distribution of responsibility and execution. And when the business is operating like a well-oiled machine, we're working really closely as a team. We're setting goals and priorities together. We're figuring out what has to get done, who's going to do it, and people are really taking responsibility and following through. But too often we can find ourselves creating a world where we believe we have to be the one authoring the task list and handing it out, or thinking we need to be the superhero and get to work at 5 a.m. and stay until midnight because we refuse to get things done through other people. As leaders, we might have to wrestle with some issues that pull us down on the wrong track when it comes to working as a team and working with people. One of those hurdles is doing what must be done versus doing what I like doing. This is an issue regardless of the size of the operation. It's an issue we have to deal with every day. I have to deal with it. And because as humans, we're continually drawn to the things that give us joy. And while certainly leaders shouldn't be deprived of joy in their day-to-day world, as leaders, we have the responsibility to focus on what's most important to drive the business forward. And that means that we can't always do the things that we used to like doing. The business demands more of us. The consequences of that are different depending on the scale and size of the operation. When we aren't disciplined as a one-person show, we end up stifling the growth of the business, but we still are able to get things done. It's just that we've become the growth-limiting factor. But when we have a staff, and as leaders, we spend time doing only the things that we love, the critical tasks of the leader aren't tended to, and the business can quickly just start drifting away along with the team. And rather than getting stuff done, people are just being busy. So as leaders, we really have to take inventory of where's the business headed, what are the critical tasks that I have to focus on, and what can each of the staff members contribute most to getting there. Here's another one. I can do it better myself. When you get into business, you have to do everything yourself. And for many of our personalities, we're attracted to the responsibility of getting things done with our own hands. We get good at things. And when we get good at things, we begin to think that we're the only ones that can do the job right. And you know what? We probably can do it better and faster. That's probably true. But a business doesn't move forward if the leader is stuck doing all of the little things perfectly. The business grows when we can train others to do the pieces of the business effectively. We need to be able to find the balance of what things, if only done good enough, can be handed off to the team. And that's the key. It isn't about perfection. It's figuring out what's good enough on this task, on this role, on this job to move the business forward. Some areas of our business do require excellence. And again, that means we as leaders need to know what things must be done with perfection and what things is good enough, good enough. Which brings me to the third hurdle. Why train people if they're just going to leave? Sometimes this isn't really spoken, but it can be in the back of our mind. We go through the work of teaching people all of this stuff only for them to leave. And here we are left to start over. But I love the rebuttal to this question, and that is, what if we don't train people and they stay? If we view ourselves as educators, we're not only more likely to get people up to speed sooner, but they're going to be more valuable to our farm, or if they do end up leaving someday, they're going to be more valuable to society. Training others requires some skill, but more than that, it requires an awareness of what it takes to do the job. When we've done something for 20 years, we can really forget the fundamentals that go into doing it the first time. And we forget the processes that we had to go through to learn the job. Leaders of great operations are the ones that let people into the process. They train them on the fundamentals. They coach them up to be able to do it with excellence. And they expect people to take responsibility for those tasks. As those expectations rise, it raises the bar for everybody on the team to get better. A final one I want to touch on is focusing on the how more than the what or the why. When we're looking at tasks to hand off to people, it can be very easy for us, especially if we're really good at doing those tasks, to get focused on the delegation event happening around how you need to do this. And one of the keys, especially if you want to have staff that think, one of the keys is having a level of autonomy that people are granted on how things get done. Now, there are certain things that need to be done a certain way, and that's okay. As a leader, we need to know there are certain things on this operation that have a certain way to do it. But in many tasks, when you look at them and step back and say, what is it we're trying to accomplish here? What should the outcome look like? What's the purpose we're doing this? If we spend more of our time when we're delegating a task focused on the desired outcome and leaving the individual some creativity and some responsibility for how to get that accomplished, we're going to build up our trust in them. They're going to increase confidence in themselves. And you don't know what creative or interesting ways of solving the problem might come. And that's how we really get the team thinking and bringing them to life and gelling and respecting them in the way that we recognize they're problem solvers. We can give them problems, and you can find out what else do they have going on? What other potentials do they have in them? Now, you might connect with some of those hurdles. I know I do. And it's too easy for me to say, I'll do it myself. And quite frankly, that's a selfish mindset. Anytime we take responsibility to do things that not only we can do, we're depriving somebody else of the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to grow, and the opportunity to contribute. And we're depriving our enterprise of our ability to contribute at a higher level. So what can we do? First, take inventory. Am I too quick to offer to stay late and do things myself? Am I reluctant to slow down and teach somebody how to do something because I just don't have the time? Get a clear understanding of what your general tendencies are, your first reactions. You need self-awareness. Next, look at your communication systems. How are priorities set? How does the team work together to determine who's going to do what? Having huddles and open communication that allows for people to select responsibilities can take a huge burden off of us and provides them with the opportunity of choice. And when choice is involved, respect and confidence grows in the team. Also, have an understanding of your people's capabilities, but not only what they can do, but their potentials as well. What could they become? That can drive you to begin meting out more and more responsibilities to see, can they grow with that increasing responsibility? How do they respond? And finally, ask yourself, in my role, what are the things that only I can do? This gets to the essence of what simply can't be delegated. Another way to ask the question is, if I could only work one day a week for the next year, how would I be spending that day? This cuts to the bone of what is really important. When we figure this out, we get creative on how we're going to go about getting more things done through others. As you think about challenges and successes that you've had in your business, be sure to shoot me a note at Dean@Modern Farm Business. I always love hearing stories and experiences that people have had and perspectives on challenges that they've overcome. I also want to take a moment to recognize Water Street Solutions for making this program possible. Water Street Solutions is passionate about helping farmers raise their game in the business of farming. They provide leadership in areas like commodity markets, financial work, and insurances. If you want to learn more about how you can kick your operation up a notch, give a call to 309-680-1200. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.